Everyone, Raymond Lacoste here, StormWind Studios, and I want to take this opportunity to answer a common question that comes up with AWS, and that is, what certification exam is right for me? What should I do? What should I take? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple, folks, because AWS has created a certification structure that allows us to focus on what it is we are trying to accomplish. So let's go take a look at that right now. You'll see that we have the foundational level, the associate level, the professional level, and in the specialty level. In the foundational level, we have cloud practitioner. Across the associate level, we have architect, SysOps administrator, developer. And then up at the professional level, we have solutions architect as well as DevOps engineer. And then moving over to the specialty exams, what do we have? We have advanced networking and security and machine learning and Alexa skill builders as well as data analytics and database. So what is right for you? Well, look at the names. What do you think might be right for you? You might say, ooh, database. I want to learn more about database. All right, hang on. That's right. Hang on just a second. Do you know anything about AWS? If you don't, that might be a bad choice. That's right. Just like dumping into security. Ooh, I really need security training. Okay, do you have anything else? Have you taken any of these? No? That might not be the best decision. Why? Specialty exams mean really, really, really hard exams. That's right. They really dig in. So, it is kind of simple to figure out what you want, but it may not be the best approach to passing AWS certification exams. So that's what I'm here to help you out with today. What is the best approach? So that way there you have the best chance of success. All right, so foundational level, cloud practitioner. Now, all exams have some sort of foundational component associated with them. So in this case, we have our AWS exams. There is a foundational component with it. But I'm fine with people skipping this. It is not a prerequisite to anything else. None of these are prerequisites to anything else. So if you skip this, I'm okay with that. But if you chose not to skip it, what are they covering here? It's really just, what does this do? What does that do? So tomorrow, if I asked you what service in AWS is going to be utilized to create virtual servers for your developers or for your production environment, you would say EC2. Or if I said, what service allows us to have a fully managed NoSQL database, you would say DynamoDB as an example. So it's that straightforward. Or you are trying to save costs, meaning you are trying to reduce your operational expenditures in the cloud. What can you do? Or you're trying to monitor your AWS resources in the cloud. What would you use? CloudWatch. Or you're trying to monitor user activity. What would you use? CloudTrail. Right? So that's really what that exam is about. So if you skip that, that is okay because you will learn about all of that here, here, and here when it's all said and done. As you can see, this is foundational for developer operations and architect. Now, if you choose to skip that, then where do you go? You might be saying, well, I really want to be a SysOps administrator. Well, again, stop. This is really hard if you don't know the architecture. Absolutely. So, exam number 1 is either going to be this one or this one. Absolutely. That is my recommendation. Based on personal experience. Absolutely. When I started in AWS, when AWS first came out, I started here. Absolutely started there. What a nightmare that was when you don't know the architecture. So I took this one first. Very difficult. I went and took this. I'm like, wow, that would have been so much easier if I knew all of this. So take my advice, folks. This is the best place to start. Or here. So you can start here and then move on to here if you want to. Or you can just start at Solutions Architect. So with Solutions Architect, what is it? It's going to be about pretty much the majority of the services you would have briefly learned about here. And learning about them in more detail and how they interact together. Is this about configuring? No. Managing? No. Monitoring? No. Maintaining? No. It's about building a cost-effective, highly available architecture with AWS services. So in this case, it's about how something like a load balancer would interact with EC2 servers in an auto-scaling group. And I would have those EC2 servers in an auto-scaling group in a VPC And then I would have security groups and access control lists and route tables. And I'd have a database in the back end. And it'd be an RDS database, multi-AZ deployment. And I'm doing that so that way they have high availability. But I want to reduce the pressure on my primary MySQL database server. So I'm going to implement some read replicas behind that as well. Woo! Okay, you see, many different services interacting together. That is Architect. So you learn about them individually here, but you learn about how they interact there. So here, you learn about them individually and how they interact as well. So great place to start, because once you know this is easier and that is easier. Way easier. So now we can move on to something like SysOps Administrator after, where we learn how to manage, monitor, and maintain those resources in that particular infrastructure that we've set up, that architect that we've set up. So when you get to this exam and there's questions that are saying you have load balancer connected to EC2 servers in an auto-scaling group and a private subnet, and you want to do XYZ 1, 2, 3, all of that makes sense to you because you have the architect associate exam under your belt. You took that training. Same thing with developer. With developer, you're going to learn about a lot of developer tools, but the thing is that from a developer standpoint, you still need to know things like Lambda. You still need to know about DynamoDB. You still need to learn about the serverless architecture or the server-based architecture and how you're going to develop properly for those different types of architectures. You don't know the architectures, those tools are really hard to understand. So the end result is no matter what, you want to have the architect certification, whether you plan on doing SysOps Administrator or developer. I encourage everybody to have this first. Becomes easier. Now, if you don't care about easiness, go ahead, jump into SysOps admin or jump into developer, but you're going to get to a point where all of a sudden you're like, I don't understand how that works together. Well, that you would have learned it there. That's where you would have learned it. So that is my approach to learning and my approach to certification exams when it comes to AWS. After that, whether you go from here to here or here to here, maybe you decide to go from here to here to here. That's fine. Take all three if you want to. But then after that, now you can start looking at some specialty exams. So looking at security as an example. Security makes a lot more sense when you have operations and architect under your belt. So really don't do security until you've done both of these at a minimum. So then maybe security. Database. Now that you're diving into the database, you have a better understanding of the database architecture. You have a better understanding of managing, monitoring, maintaining. Now you can go ahead and dive into the database from a specialty standpoint and dig deeper and deeper and deeper into all the database options. Same thing with advanced networking. You know the architecture now. You have the ability to manage, monitor, maintain the architecture from a networking standpoint. So now advanced networking becomes a little bit easier. It's still very difficult. These are all difficult exams, but this becomes easier. So if you dump into specialties right away, but you don't have these under your belt, those are really hard. Those are really hard because it's implied that you know the material from here, even though it's not a prerequisite. But let's say you don't want to specialize just yet, and you're like, I want to get the professional solutions architect. Go ahead and do that after SysOps. So architect associate, SysOps, then do solutions architect. Why? Because solutions architect, although it's just part of architect, the knowledge you gain here helps you here. It really does. Absolutely it does. So that's why I suggest do this, then this. This will make a lot more sense if you also have this. If you don't have this, that is really hard exam. It is the hardest certification exam that AWS offers. It really is. The hardest. And then for DevOps engineer, probably the second hardest or maybe third hardest behind security. But DevOps engineer, as you'll see, once you take SysOps admin or developer, you can go up to DevOps engineer from there. So if that's what you're interested in the management, monitoring and maintaining your solution from a development standpoint with developers, DevOps engineer, it's the way to go. So those are my suggestions, folks, for you. You can follow my suggestions if you want, based on my experience, my learning, my training, and really figuring out what is the best approach for your likelihood of success, or you can take your own path if you want to. It's up to you. But for the greatest chance of success the first time, solutions architect first, folks. Take advantage of that. And for those of you wondering, do you even take the exams, Raymond? Absolutely. I've just recently retaken this exam for the third time, not because I failed it the first two times, but because I always like to make sure I am up to date with the most current information on the certification exam. And that's the way I treat all of my courses I teach. So for Solutions Architect, I just went back a few weeks ago, passed the certification exam, and so I know exactly what they're looking for on that certification exam to help you get ready for that exam. And same thing, SysOps, I'm going to be doing that here shortly, as well as developer, and we're going to be making any adjustments we need to. So we're always making sure our courses are up to date with the most recent certification exams, so that way there you have the best chance of passing the certification on the first try by using us here at StormWind Studios. So folks, I look forward to seeing each and every single one of you here with us at StormWind Studios. Let us help you achieve your goals, your missions, your dreams, your ambitions for 2021. Whether it's in AWS or not, doesn't matter. I'd like to see you in AWS, but if you need PMP training or ITIL training, or you need Microsoft training or Linux training or Cisco training, reach out to us. Let us help you get the training you need so that way you can become more valuable for yourself, for your family, and for the organization you work for. So, until next time, folks, keep up the excellent work. Keep on studying, keep on training, keep on striving to be better. And we'll see you in a future session with us here at StormWind Studios. Take care, folks, and bye for now.